Привет, друзья. Hello, friends. It's me, Catherine Ivers Norton, the author of The Stain, for our 12th Facebook jail session. It is November 26, 2021, and we'll take a look at Chapter 12, Darkest Days. I lay low for a few days while Sergei sulked and slept on the couch in the library in self-imposed exile. I overheard him arguing loudly with someone on the phone and saw him pacing. He looked rattled. He was usually meticulously groomed, but now sported unshaven scruff on his face and wore rumpled, slept-in clothing. My attempts at reconciliation met rejection. He waved me out of the library, saying, "Go away, I need to work." When I told him I was concerned and asked if he wanted to talk about what was going on, he said, "Get out of my head, psychologist." All I could do was give him space and hope he would come around. I went cross-country skiing, visited the horses, played with Velikan and Kukla. I even made a few snow angels. Sadly, the snow was too dry to make snowmen, or I would have made some friends. I missed having guests and going places. We were right back to isolation mode. One morning I got up early and mucked out the horse barn. My nerves were frazzled and I needed to do physical work to burn off excess energy. Demeshko was shocked to see the lady of the house shoveling horse poop and tried to take the pitchfork from my hands. I laughed, smiled, and waved him away. I wasn't above getting dirty. This task was much more pleasant than dealing with the lord of the manor. The weather was always overcast or snowing, and the days were cold and dark, with only a brief lightening of the sky at midday. We were quickly approaching the shortest day of the year. I hadn't been able to write in weeks, and I needed to produce something soon or I would lose my job. I asked Sergei if it would be okay for me to go to the library at the university to do some research. I asked him to join me, but he did not want to spend the day in the city or with me. He searched my face for signs of deceit for a long minute. Finally, he said, "Fine, have Ilya drive you." I kissed him on the forehead and left before he could change his mind. I sat in the front seat of the Mercedes next to Ilya. When the gate closed behind us, my soul rejoiced. I was going somewhere. Ilya turned and smiled, the corners of his mouth curling up in the cutest way. He reached over to hold my hand. I was glad to have him as a friend. I had to admit, part of me wished he could be more. Do not go there, I cautioned myself. Sergei would ruin this young man's life without mercy. If he ever even had an inkling, something was going on between us. We drove through several snow squalls and took our time on the icy, snow-blown roads. The police pulled us over outside the city, but they seemed to be looking for someone else. No ticket was issued. The 2-hour drive stretched to 3, but we finally made it. I was getting used to the police and the trips weren't scary anymore. I assured Ilya I'd be fine in the library by myself and released him to do whatever he wanted to do. We planned to meet back in the lobby at 5 p.m. Once Ilya was gone, I found the nearest phone and called Lena. She was relieved to hear from me. "Sandra, how are you? I've been trying to reach you for days," she said. I told her how Sergei freaked out when Slava came by the house and put us in lockdown. "I don't know how you put up with him, Cherry, so far out in the country. He's a madman. Come stay with me," she offered. It was tempting, but I was pretty sure Sergei would not be down with that. "We will shop and go out dancing," she continued. "What's the point of having money if you can't enjoy it? There is so much to do in St. Petersburg. Have you ever been to the Hermitage?" "No," I replied. "That's a crime against culture, Cherry," she declared dramatically. "Perhaps he can make you live out in the woods like a barefoot farm girl, but he can't deny you Russian culture." I had to admit, she had a good point. Why bother living in Russia if I never got to see any of it? Surely Sergei would not deny me the chance to appreciate his culture. "I will talk to him, let you know, but today I'm here to get some work done," I said. "Lunch then, you must eat. I insist," she said. I glanced at my briefcase and thought of the boring cheese sandwich stashed inside and exhaled. Sergei would be pissed if he found out, but I deserved a friend and a nice meal out once in a while. I missed the freedom of being single in New York and doing whatever I wanted. I wished I had done a whole lot more when I had the chance. Okay, Lena, you win. I caved. Wonderful. I'll pick you up in an hour, she said. Stepping into Lena's limo was exhilarating. I felt like a spy on a mission, and this was a top secret mission as far as Sergei was concerned. St. Petersburg reminded me of the James Bond movies. Intrigue seemed to be waiting around every corner. Why not have fun playing the part? Claiming some freedom from my overbearing spouse was thrilling. I lifted my dark sunglasses and took in the sight of my friend. Lena was in full glamour mode. Her hair, makeup, and clothes added up to a vision of high society Russian style. She was even sipping a flute of champagne and offered me one of the same. I declined. I still planned to get some work done later. We had lunch at a French restaurant in the heart of the city. Lena brought up the topic of Slava Volkov over cheese puff appetizers. I knew it was coming and was surprised she'd been able to hold off so long. He's a teddy bear, Sandra. He truly is, she said, and he simply adores you. He adores me? I asked incredulously. Recalling the laundry room debacle sent a shiver down my spine. I shifted uncomfortably in my seat. You have to understand, a man like Slava is used to getting what he wants. He has gobs of money and very powerful friends, she explained. It occurred to me that powerful friends was code for the Russian mafia. Sergei told me Slava is involved in organized crime, I whispered discreetly. Sergei said he is a dangerous man. Her surprised laugh caught mid-bite and Lena coughed. An attentive waiter rushed to refill her water glass. She smiled her thanks and fluttered her eyelashes at him. I noticed he was attractive and lingered in her aura longer than necessary. Interesting. Leaning in close, she said, my darling Sandra, can you really be so naive? Do you think anyone with money in Russia today is not involved in something illegal? Sergei is a legitimate businessman, I said defensively. She leaned back and stared at me, tapping a French manicured nail on the table. I stared back, not knowing what to say. Is he? She snorted. I had to admit to myself, I didn't know the full extent of Sergei's business dealings. Could he be a criminal? I'd never entertained the thought before. I must have looked shocked because Lena changed the subject. But these matters are not for us to discuss, my dear. Our work is to enjoy life and these moments together, she said as she reached across the table to take my hands in hers. I am so glad we are friends, she winked. Me too, Lena, me too. I would be totally lost without her. Okay, let's stop there. So the friendship with Lena is this is turning out to be really good for her because she's getting a different perspective on Russian culture, society, and what's happening in the country at the present time, because this is 1997. And truly the only people with money at that time were probably doing illegal things. Perhaps, or they're just really lucky because most of the people were pretty poor, and there was a lot of chaos and a lot of criminal activity at that time. That's my impression from observations I made at the time and from what I've read. So I'm not an expert. Please feel to add comments. What I do like about this is that she's not accepting Sergei's lockdown. She's kind of like coming into her own, where she entered the marriage. We're like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. You seem to know what you're doing. You can be the boss. And he's overstepped his bounds in some ways, and she's starting to assert herself, which is appropriate. She's not a child. He's parental in some ways, but she's not a child. She's a grown woman with a PhD. So what else I see here going on here is that she's getting some enjoyment of getting things over on him. So she's rebelling a little bit against his authority. And I find that interesting. So the other thing is, I like Alina's statement about, it's these, some things are not ours to discuss. You don't need to worry about all the other things like what other people are doing. Our job is to enjoy life and the good fortune we have right now and just being together. And I like that. That's a good philosophy, because you can't, I mean, no matter what your circumstances are, you can always worry about everything all the time, or you can say, you know what, I'm in this moment right now. Things are pretty good. There's a cheese puff appetizer in front of me and a glass of champagne. I'm going to enjoy my life right now, and that is a good attitude to have, because you never know when things, your fortune might change. So you have to enjoy good fortune when you have it, and the friends that you have while you have friends. And if there's something funny about, laugh. You can cry later, and when it's time to cry. But right now, enjoy life. So that's my wish for you today. Is to find something that makes you laugh, and laugh today, and enjoy life, and worry about tomorrow. Give yourself a day off. Enjoy. All right. So I'll be back soon with something from chapter 13. In the meantime, farewell, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.